So we've got the quad and the power wheels. These are our donors. I'll start with this. This is the pink pickle. We picked this up for free off the side of the road when I was going to get my Mercedes from Pickles Auctions, hence Pickles, and it is pink, so hence the pink pickle. It does turn on. I got with the motorbike battery. Oh, listen to that, mad. Lights come on, still drives, but about that fast. Not quite good enough. And then we've got the quad. I just picked this up the other day, specifically for this build, obviously. It does run. I paid 150 bucks for this. Does need some wiring. So to start it at the moment, you kind of just grab this and tap it on there. But it does run. Very good. Obviously, turn that off. It is a bit longer than the little pink pickle here. So we're gonna have something to do there. But I think to start with, I'm gonna pull the plastics off this and then strip the wheels and stuff off this and see how much fitting up we've got. With some stuff disassembled, you can start to see the vision coming together. Obviously that's going to be way down lower, but that will be the setup. I don't know, I was thinking about shortening the quad wheelbase, but maybe I just cut out the wheel wells more and just leave it shorter on there. Depends how it's going to look versus how much work it's going to be to tweak it. But yeah, now I'll sort of cut out the tub plastic bit in here and just keep trying to get it to sit lower on there. This is how we're looking after the first cut. Ever so slightly lower, but not much. More cutting and we'll try again. Second cut, here's where we're sitting. It's now resting on the steering in there, on the bonnet. So this is gonna have to go a bit more forward. I definitely don't want the steering coming through the bonnet. I want it here, so I think I will chop here and here, this back loop off so that I can shift it forward. Third cut, now we have the issue that the quad is longer than the little car. So the back is on the spring there. And yeah, the front is sitting quite well. I'm quite happy with the front. Obviously that's not really going to be able to get much lower than that. So that's about how high it'll sit. But the back just obviously isn't even close. So I'll assess ways to either obviously need to shorten the quad or lengthen the body. I think I'm going to try shorten the quad, mainly just because I would prefer to work with metal than whatever plastic fiberglass stuff I'm going to have to do to extend the body. Right, I've sort of got a plan to shorten this up a bit. The back is obviously pretty, like everything's pretty close there, not much I can do, and it would be a lot of work, so I'm not going to touch the back at all. But in the front here, I'm in between, I guess, these control arms, and back here there's a fair bit, so I guess I'm going to try to take that out as best I can. I've sort of got a plan. I could explain it all and probably bore you all to death, or I could just do it and I'm sure you'll work it out as I go. So I'm just going to do that. now you should sort of be able to see what I'm trying to do. So these top points will just go to here. The bottom points where they're cut will just go back to there. And then these ones I will have to add a bar in here. But if I put you up here for a second, I'll hold it in place. And that there will basically be the setup. So yeah, I don't think it's definitely not going to be perfect, like perfectly short enough to fit the wheelbase of that, but it will be easier to work with if I can get this as short as possible. Okay, so my original plan wasn't going to work here because I was going to cut out here and move these upper mounts in to on here in the frame, so in here and in here. But then what that's going to do is with the back there, it's obviously going to tilt the front forward like that, and then the control arms and the tie rods are going to hit on the frame here. So I'm going to have to change this part of the frame. So I'm going to cut it from on top of here and somewhere up here, and then I'll weld a new just straight frame in there. Alright, there we go. That's all just sort of mocked up in there. But that will be about the final position. That's about as good as I can get it without extending the body. I don't think it looks too bad, so I'll do a little bit of like trimming to these front and rear bumpers to make it look a bit better. But yeah, now I'll just make some bars for in here and weld it all up. To get the body sitting a bit lower, so I moved the rear suspension mount, had the platform up here, now it's down here, and then cut like the loops that were here off the front. So now I've just got to put a bar from here to here, and then I'll brace these ones up to the bar here, and then the bottom ones are just tacked on there, and I'll weld them fully, and then I'll put something in for the steering, and the fuel tank will need some tabs or something, but I'll worry about that a little later on. So now, this is how the body sits on there. Much lower. The back is higher, but it's only sitting on the plastic. So once I trim that, that will sit way lower as well, because yeah, plenty of room in there. So looking all good. I'll weld those bars in, and then we'll probably trim the body up and work on some mounts for it. Okay, so here's what we've got. I got these bars in to connect there, then I got the cross piece here which holds the bushing for the steering, and then I got these ones in here for the top of the control arm. Some of it's just tacked at the moment, but I'll probably pull the engine, all the wheels off, and weld everything up properly at the end. So now, set the body on and start trimming the plastic, and hope I can make it look good. So here's how she sits at the moment. As far as the front goes, I love it. Super happy with it. It needs trimming in here for it to be able to turn. But as far as how that looks, could not be happier. The back, on the other hand, doesn't look great. But I'm not too sure what I can do about that. Change of plans. In case you can't tell, the body is now in two pieces. I've decided I am going to extend it because it's just not going to be very fun to ride unless I don't. So the front now is mounted pretty well, just 2 bolts in there to a little tab that was already in there. I might end up putting like a bumper here rather than just this. Obviously, there was a fair bit of cutting that I had to do to make this turn all the way. Definitely, I don't know, it doesn't look as good anymore, but it's got to be usable as well. And then the back will sit somewhere back there and look way better overall. So, and then it's only going to be a little piece in here and it will all be filled. So yeah, pretty good. Maybe might work on that front bumper because I can't really do much with the back until the seat arrives, which I have ordered, to work out where all that's going to go. Okay, so here's the start of our little bumper tacked on there. I'll take the body off and weld them properly and then also run braces down to here. There we have it, solid as anything. You can jump on that bad boy. So yeah, I probably will put braces in here, but it is probably mainly for how it looks, and then I might put like a skid plate on there. But good stuff, happy with that. So I got the bottom of the original bumper bolted back on there, so I think that looks pretty good. Happy with that. So gonna start work on mounting the seat first. I think it's a good place to start. Alright, we got them all welded up, so the seat will just sit on there, bolts in through there, drill some holes. I was gonna race these down to there, but I mean, they are plenty strong, so even better. Wait for them to cool a bit so it doesn't melt the seat, and then I'll sit it on there and mark those holes and zip zip and drill them through. So with the seat attached, I moved on to shortening the foot step things so that the wheels could turn. So I just cut them down, tacked them on and welded it fully up. I then just did the same on the other side. I then trimmed the body some more to make it fit a bit nicer, measured up and cut some tabs to mount the body to the frame, welded them on, and then screwed the body in. I then also made some tabs to mount the bottom of the body too later on. Then I moved on to the fuel tank. Okay, for fuel tank mounts, I've made up these. They should sit in there. I can weld them to the frame. Then obviously one there, one there. You hold the tank. Hopefully they work. Let's test it out. Okay, so this sits in there great. Right in there. So I'll just clean up this and weld them onto there. Be very solid. That's them tacked on there. Perfect. And the little fuel taps right here to go in down there, so perfect fitment really. I think we've just got to find somewhere to mount the battery, and we're getting very close. I got the original battery cradle from the quad in there, so that just slips in there nicely. So I'll just get like probably cable tie or something across the top to hold it down. That's pretty good, I think. Now the only thing left is to make some handlebars. So I'll take the seat off and the front off because there's some joints I gotta fully weld that are only tacked, like that battery mount. But I don't want to weld with the plastics on there, so I'll pull that off, fully weld all them, and then yeah, just some handlebars and should be good to go.
so the frame's all cleaned up now. I still got to do the exhaust, the handlebars, the wiring, and the extension bits for the body where I cut it and made it longer. So a little bit to do, but I'm going to put all the body, seat, fuel tank back in and then keep working on the rest. Before I put it all back together, I bought a new carby, so I'll go ahead and throw that in now. The old one did work, the quad ran, but for the sake of, I don't know, 20 bucks or whatever this was, I figured it'd just be a good preventative maintenance, so I'll throw that in. There's that on there. Come with the air filter too, so that's handy, because I think that's also maybe why I bought it, because I had to buy an air filter anyway, and it was like not that much more to get a carby than to just get an air filter, so yeah. Under the handlebars, I wanted to use something straight like that, just because I thought it would look better. So I was looking at like these handlebars or something, but I got my little sister Ruby to sit in there, and you definitely need something that comes up like that for it to clear your knees. So it's gonna have to be these. I don't think they look all that great because they stick so high in the air, but better to be rideable than just look better. So we'll get these thrown on and do some wiring. Bars are on, throttle's on, brakes on. Brake needs bleeding for sure, but onto the wiring. Wiring is boring, so I'll just do it. There we go, all the wiring is done. Only thing, I had a little problem, the starter button on this switch didn't work, so I've just thrown this one on here for now with it there. Other than that, it's a bit of a mess. I'll probably clean it up and get a new one of these eventually so that's all in one, but it's all there. It all works, so it's another thing done. So it's really only the body going on, the pieces to fill the gap, and the exhaust. Getting insanely close now. So yeah, it's dark out now, so I'm going to call that a night, and hopefully we should be able to finish this thing tomorrow and take it for a spin. Alright, we're back. We're going to bolt this body down and then make an exhaust. Alright, there's the exhaust. All done. Pretty happy with that. Looks alright. Sticks out a little, but should be okay. Now I think we try to start it, because all that's left is these side panels. So, alright, here we go. Jump pack is plugged in. Take two. Alright, so I've been trying to bleed the brakes because they obviously were not working. And I've worked out this master cylinder is toast. So I'm going to have to buy a new one of them and order it in. And it'll take a little while to get here. So these side panels, and that's about all I can do until the brake works. But I'm super happy with it. It's pretty quick, even with my weight on it. So yeah, it'll be good fun, especially when those brakes are all good. So we'll knock up those side panels. So I've attached these panels with cable ties, and then there's some in there as well. Now, instead of painting it, I've printed the same colour onto some sticker paper. So hopefully I can just apply it like a vinyl wrap. So we'll see how successful we are at that. Our brake master cylinder has arrived. That was very speedy postage, so we'll get that slapped on, bled, and hope it works. Okay, we finally have working brakes, working very well. Start it back up and test it in its final form. Right, I've been out and tested these brakes. Millie's first time. Everyone probably up. Yep. Yeah, got it. Let's give it a blip, full